Oh my goodness, I've been a grumpy, grumpy boy. I just get so frustrated with some of this yoga stuff. I don't bend the way I used to. What is with that? All right, I'm making coffee. Coffee is happening. There's the coffee. There's the baby Yoda. Oh my God, baby Yoda's looking a little overgrown now. Baby Yoda needs a haircut. Hello, Brick Test. Hello, Amanda, Candy, Claire Ann, Richard Dickens, Gary Hollingdale, Hollingdale. Amy, Andrianne, Kenny, Lindsay, Megan, Tammy, Paige, Randy the Magician, Ivan, Bass, not Baz, I know that, and Chelsea, Samar. My God, there's too many people. All right, hello, everybody. Good morning to you all. Really sad yoga today. I mean, Jane had to talk me off the ledge. I was like, that's it, I'm done. Forget it. This is stupid. Yoga is officially dumb. And she's like, David, you're doing okay. Just come on back. Come on, darling, it'll be fine. So it's been, it was a thoroughly frustrating, irritating time for Jane. But eventually, I got back into it, so I got it done. My legs are shaky. I got my little jelly legs, and I'm ready to rock and roll, I suppose. Got a little bit of time, I guess. Like 1:00 is my first thing, so that's pretty good. The Cliff Simon stuff is really quite a shock. I don't know much about it. I met him a couple of times on conventions, and he just seemed like a very classy, cool guy, the actor you all want to be. And I just think it's was it like kite surfing or something like that? It's just like, God, it drives me crazy how fragile our little. It's amazing how resilient we are as humans, and also just how fragile we are as well. I mean, it just it's. I feel really bad for his family. It's got to be brutal. And I just don't know I don't know the details. As I say, I knew him only in a sort of an acquaintance like way at conventions, but we always we always had a laugh, and he was always just lovely, kind of, as I say, kind of classy guy. He's one of those people you meet as an actor, you go like, oh, that's an actor, like that's a real actor. I know. I just don't know I don't know the logistics of that. How do you die kite? I mean, I suppose there's a million ways you could die kite surfing, but I'm not sure I even want to know. I just feel, I feel really bad. That's a horrible way to go. And just at a time when it feels like the world was beginning to pick up again too. It just, Anyways, okay. I'm in a virtual leadership seminar from 3 to 6, so only non-messy finger foods tonight. Very good, Tammy Packwood. Let me tell you about leadership. Leadership begins with me. You, I mean. Can you please shave your beard? I don't like it. Yes, Zaifu, you've said that before, and I've said before that I'm leaving the beard because I'm actually working right now. So thank you for your fashion tips. I will take note. In the end, we all die, and all that will remain are our children. We're all very aware that that's going to happen, but we never seem to be ready for it, do we? I mean, it's always a horrible shock, even if you're sort of expecting it. Even if you're really expecting it, it's a horrible shock. So, it's sort of miserable, isn't it? I also worry a little bit about I don't like all the. I don't know. There can sometimes be a sort of a drama that's generated around this stuff on social media that I worry about. So I'm always a bit reticent to sort of jump in and say something, because you just don't want to come across like you're, God, what is the term? Signaling, like you're signaling that you're, oh look, this is as I say, I was an acquaintance only of Cliff. I saw him only at conventions, and but was duly impressed. So, anyways, I feel weird jumping in on this, because I just don't feel like I have any right or any, I don't know, any perspective on this that anyone else wouldn't have. I'm sad in the same way that I'm sure all of you are about it. So, all right. What do we got? Yeah, he did a bunch of stuff, didn't he? He was like one of those he was like a classic old actor in a way that he had all these different sort of like sides to him as well, which was kind of fun. And he had a book as well that he was talking about when I last talked to him. So Dark Sprocket asks, Rodney didn't hate citrus. Rodney was allergic, deathly allergic. God, what are you wishing death upon Rodney? That's shocking. So he was definitely allergic to citrus. But are you asking whether I am or not? I've lost my thread again. No. Real life, I have my own allergies, but they're not. It's not the lemon. Weirdly, it's like pineapple and some nuts and apple skins, and I am a horrible. I'm not even sure if allergic is the right term. Well, no, it definitely is. I have allergic reactions to numerous things, but I think I'm more what do they say, reactive, should we say? My skin tends to react to lots of different things. My lips are amazing at just like blowing up like Mick Jagger if I eat the wrong thing. So, the working out is working for you. You got muscles. I order muscles at restaurants, but not right now. But thank you. I don't know about muscles. I think I'm this close to the camera. David, question of the day: Baby Yoda or Baby Groot? Baby Groot. I freaking love Baby Groot. I'm sorry. I love Baby Yoda. Check it out. I mean, I got Baby Yoda right here. I mean, Baby Yoda's, sprouting chia as we speak, somewhere in there. I think Baby Yoda definitely needs a haircut. There you go, peering out from there. So Baby Yoda's, a big part of our life and decorations here. But yeah, I'm afraid I am Groot, man. I love that guy. Baby Groot, grown up Groot, teenage Groot, fantastic. Oh, really? So cranberries, that does that to you, Lone Wanderer. Yeah, so I get that with pineapple. I get that with apple sometimes, some kind of nuts. Although I eat all of these things, I should add. Like I absolutely, I'm fearless, really, or just stupid. I like eating, so I don't like not having to eat things or not being able to eat things. So, and one of my favorite foods is actually pineapple. But if I eat fresh pineapple, my lips go. And then recently I've had my throat's gone up as well, which is of course a little dangerous. So so I have an EpiPen just in case, but I still insist on eating it because I freaking love it. I don't eat it alone, shall we say. I eat it in company only. Which do I prefer, SG1 or Atlantis? What do you think, Jose? What do you think I prefer? I love SG1 for making Atlantis possible. How's that? Of course, I can have a bias towards Atlantis. It's my family. Although what's wonderful about the whole Stargate stuff in general is they're all pretty damn welcoming. So I have a soft spot for them both. But yeah, I miss Atlantis. I just loved doing Atlantis. It was a lot of fun. You look like you should be at a pro skateboarding event. Seriously looking good. Adrienne, thank you very much. This is just to hide how sweaty and gross my hair is. That's all. Also, as it's a beautiful spring day, but it's still got a little bite, a little Toronto winter bite to it. So I'm dressing up a bit. It's balmy boring online, is it? No, it's hard to do. Is it hard to do the online stuff? Are you struggling with that? David Industries Development with Google offering certificate programs. I was going to send the article over to you. Oh, Tammy, please do. What is that? A certificate program? I know that Google was involved in a company that does some, they call them like mini degrees type thing, micro degrees or whatever. That sounds really cool. So no Tech Bandits next week. You'll be blowing stuff up. Randy the Magician, jumping straight into the fray. Yes, I am filming on the mystery show I'm sure the show that will not be named, but will be named later, I'm sure. It is a show that is already in existence, and I'm going to be leaping into the fray on that. So on Monday and Tuesday, I shoot that. I'm hoping to sort of make up for some Tech Bandits, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday or something. But we will be doing Dungeons & Dragons this weekend at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time after my tech talk with Barnacles and Ox. So looking forward to that. Had so much fun yesterday with Gimpy God. I love having Gimpy God as a part of the Tech Bandit stuff. I should probably talk to the Tech Bandits about it, make sure they're okay with it. But I thoroughly enjoy it, and it just brings up stuff that we wouldn't normally think about. And I definitely got the sense that the kids were interested in some of the perspectives on that stuff. So what I'd like to do is get some actual hardware involved here, like actually get myself some of this I think I'm going to look at the Spark Fun stuff. There's a company up here, there's Elmwood Electronics, I think, up here that I like to go to because they're Canadian and Toronto and in the middle of a pandemic. So I thought I would see if I could get some of the, I never get it right. Is it Milo, the Milo sensors, Mylar sensors? They pick up the electrical signal from the muscles. And the idea is that that Gimpy God has not movement in the muscles, but has the ability to activate the muscles. And apparently when people are holding his arms, they can feel slight movement. So if that's the case, there's electrical signals. And if those electrical signals could then be amplified to such an extent that they could be used as triggers for his gaming controls, that'd be really freaking cool. So, people are good. People are doing tech support in the chat. It's good to know. Let me know. So you are not in the booth on Wednesday, right? So Wednesday is Wednesday. There's one thing I have to do on Wednesday, but I think I can do that before. I think I can do that before Tech Bandits. I'm not sure. I'm doing an art stream with Jack Jasra on Wednesday. So I wanted to see what he was up to over there. He's doing some fun stuff. He's always a talented guy, Jack Jasra. Go follow him on Twitch. He's Jack Jasra on Twitch, and he does these great. He did all of the emoticons and logo stuff for us for Tech Bandits, and it's just he's just a great guy. So it's really fun to watch him work, and he just does the work right there. You're like watching him create this stuff. It's very cool. After the chat the other day around personal bias, etc., would highly recommend Verna Myers talks. Okay, great. I'll have a look. Verna Myers, I shall do. Maybe the mobile is different. I'm on the laptop right now. Oh yeah, there's definitely a difference between what you can do on a phone and what you can do on a computer with this silly YouTube stuff. While they attempt to make it, universal, it's just not. They haven't got quite the same stuff. I don't think you can tag people if you're on a phone or an iOS device. I don't believe, but I get confused as to which one is which, to be honest. So I would think Elon Musk's gadget that connects through the human skull would benefit disabled gamers, but it's still years away from testing. Yeah, I mean, it's also very invasive, Jersey Dolphin. Like, it's very, you're literally having some robot drill a hole in your skull. Maybe Gimpy God would be into that. I don't know, but if he's any amount of the coward that I am, I would definitely want that pretty well tested before. But especially if we could just place a couple of sensors on arms to give him those extra button clicks that he doesn't have because I believe, if I'm correct, I think it's just he's got the ability to move the thumbs a tiny bit, but without a lot of pressure. And we got to keep in mind that, as he says, this is degenerative, so it's possible that even that is going to become more and more difficult. So anything we can do electrically to sense those movements as opposed to actually have him do them, it'd be great to be one step ahead of this stuff. Keep those thumbs going while he can, and then go from there. But if he can have it could even just be like a head move or a muscle twitch or something. And use that as an input for him. Then he's got, forward, left, right, back. So he's got his gaming directional stuff. The hope is that eye or head tracking will allow him to move in the direction that he's looking. They're getting better and better at that. Combine that with potentially some specific buttons for him, for the thumbs. I wondered even about getting into something that was, breaking a beam of light or something that doesn't require any force so that he can sort of move. He can move that way. That said, of course, he likes the buttons because he can rest on them. But I mean, Gimpy God should talk to this because it's his baby. But I like the idea of mirroring whatever he's got here so that I can do testing on it. So I can test it here, and he can walk me through what kind of things that, like, if there's any problems or if there's specific things we need to work out, because it's just so much easier for me to go and get into the system settings and stuff than it is for him or him to ask someone else to do that for him. So the idea is, the goal of this thing, for those of you who don't know, is to get my friend Lance, who is known as Gimpy God Gaming, got to get him set up in such a way that basically he can run anything on Windows. Anything, any game, anything he wants, without having to use the keyboard, or being able to use it with either the virtual keyboard or some kind of a system that allows him to to get around the Windows stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there, but they all seem to be a little kludgy and not perfect, obviously, and it's just trying to find some kind of a setup specifically for him. I mean, this is the thing about assistive technology, right? Is that it's so specifically, it needs to be so specifically configured to the people who are using it. There's some brilliant charities out there, like I think is it Able Gamers, and there's a wonderful one in England called Special Effects, and they set up gaming and computer rigs for anybody who's got any kind of mobility issues, and they've just done some incredible work. If I could run off and join that circus, I would do that in a second. I just think it's just amazing what they're doing. If you happen to be in the UK and you're looking for a charity one year, that would be the one to absolutely be the one to support, because it just, I mean, like truly bringing smiles to kids. I mean, it's. Even just listening to Gimpy God talk about it, I mean, you understand, I mean, like, imagine your sense of wonder and freedom about going into a game and escaping into a game and how much you can enjoy it. You can lose days playing video games or even reading a good book, whatever. The idea that escapism, hearing Gimpy God talk about it was interesting because he's talking about it from a whole other perspective where all of a sudden he has mobility that he doesn't have. All of a sudden, he is able to interact with people in a way that he can't do in the real world. This is truly like a promised sort of wonderland for him. So I really want to work with him towards that because he's got some great ideas, and I'm such a nerd. There's a few tech stuff that he hasn't. Apparently, he hadn't heard of a couple of these things. So I'm really excited that if these haven't been explored, then it's possible they could work for him. So it was really neat. He suggested a Twitch streamer for us to raid yesterday, and he was using an assistive setup, which was really cool to see in motion as well. But again, everybody has different movement, right? So this guy had much more motion in either one or both of his hands. I wasn't sure, but still had the eye tracking head, where it was a head tracking system with infrared LEDs and some kind of a camera system that picked it up and could sort of track his head in 3 dimensions. I just feel like if we can put freaking moving emoticons on people's faces, we can't come up with a really good assistive interface for Windows or for Mac or for any of these things. Forget Mac. It'd be PC, because it's PC gaming. We all want to be PC gamers. And the other thing is, like, why, just because you have disabilities, wouldn't you want to be a streamer? Everyone wants to be a freaking streamer now. Like, and like the idea that who better to do it than someone who's at home all the time anyways? Like, he'd be freaking great at it. He's got some great stories. So yeah, I think it's amazing. So Dave's the dude. Are you the Dave that's the dude, or am I Dave the dude? I'm just going to assume it's me. I guess that's, nice dude. I have fun. What do we got? My coffee is definitely ready. Another question from Imperador. Thank you, Imperador. What do you got? What do you prefer, magic powers or meet an alien? Ooh. Well, magic powers don't exist, so I'm going to go with alien, because I'd like to meet an alien. Maybe not aliens alien, but alien would be nice. Like an Asgard, as you say, would probably be the way to go. But magic powers, there's no science there. That's like a dream. Whereas the idea of actually having a discussion with an intelligent alien race is slim, admittedly, but a possibility. One of the things that came up in the article that I was reading in New York Magazine, it's this huge, tome of an article about the climate emergency, and they're listing off all the possible things that could go wrong. And then I've been reading this annotated version, which has all of this sort of background information on a lot of these different things that they claim in the article, and sort of following up and sort of legitimizing some of the stuff they say, because some of it's quite controversial. And one of the things that came up, which I thought was really sort of interesting about that, was, is it possible that, something else that Impedidor brought up the other day, the Fermi's paradox, the idea that, if there's such a giant universe, it seems most likely that there is intelligent life out there as well as us. It would seem sort of very sort of self-centered and perhaps a little blinker to think that we are alone. Why haven't we seen them yet? And so people come up with all these different solutions, and one of them is called the filter, the great filter. And the idea that as we progress, as animals progress, as a species progresses through time, they will reach different sort of hurdles, societal survival hurdles, and that filters out the possibilities of things like human beings getting off the planet and moving out into space and then meeting other people the same way, or other species the same way. So one of these global climate comments, which really struck me, was, what if this is the filter? What if the climate change is the filter that stops intelligent races from progressing beyond where we are now? That, let's say, without industrialization, a civilization can survive for, let's say, 7,000 years, and with industrialization, it can survive for like 700. So the idea that potentially the combination of our development and our industrialization is the filter that has stopped all these other intelligent races from coming out and finding us. So kind of depressing, but so basically our job is to come up with a way of solving this. From what I get from this article, which, as I say, I highly, highly recommend you read, just look up New York Magazine climate change, and you'll find it. There's a big thing. Their first one is really that the first big point is that it's going to become impossible to live as humans around the equator because of the temperature change is just going to be too much. Also, sea levels, all the usual stuff, and stuff that I hadn't thought of, like things like what happens when the permafrost melts, and what if methane is released? What if we start mining that what they call flaming ice, whatever it's called? I think I mentioned this yesterday. I got a great name for it, methyl something or other. Anyways, point being is, can you do that without releasing more methane? Because methane, obviously, multiple times more effective at making our planet uninhabitable and raising the temperature and such. So it talks about a bunch of these different things. But look it up, because it really is a fascinating article, whether you agree with it or not. But what I came out of it with is, they're all very optimistic, because they now believe that science is the only way we can solve this. So I'm a jaded old jerk, admittedly, and see the negative of everything and everyone, but including myself, although probably mainly myself. But I do believe that technology may have dug this hole for us. I still think that technology is going to dig us out. So we just have to figure it out. We have to start thinking about it in a different way. They're talking about, how do we somehow create machines or systems that will remove carbon from our atmosphere, as well as the obvious, cutting back on things. So, hey, Kenneth Roberts from Liverpool, England. How's it going? Not heard of flaming ice. Sounds interesting. Yeah, Kenneth Roberts. It's basically, I believe it's just methane that's being trapped in incredibly cold, incredibly high pressure areas like the bottom of the ocean. And we're now beginning to wonder if maybe this is our last gasp at sort of mineable fossil fuel related stuff. But of course the concern is, if we start, belching massive amounts of methane into the environment by digging this stuff up, by mining this stuff, are we going to hasten our demise? And it just seems there's a horrible sort of inevitability about this stuff. I mean, they're talking about, even just to reach the Paris Accord agreements to get our emissions down by 2025, it basically seems like it's just not going to happen. I mean, we have to, basically shut down agriculture and cut all of our emissions by half in the next little while. And that's not to be completely defeatist, but that ain't gonna happen. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. All right. Hello from Ireland. Yeah, me too, Tom. I know. We talked about it earlier. It is very sad about Old Cliff. Not Old Cliff. That's part of the sad part of it. I mean, my initial thought was, oh God, is his COVID got him? But it sounds so weird to hear about like a sports related death during this time. Like, it just seems so weird. We're not. I mean, here it's still. I guess we're beginning to open up. I'm not. I'm staying at home. I had a COVID test at home again today. They showed up and scrubbed my nostrils for the show on Monday. But I'm hunkering down until we have this vaccination stuff sorted out. But so it's just so odd to think about people out and about and being able to actually do things. But of course, if you're down in that neck of the woods anyways, then I suppose you've got access to the ocean. And of course, you should be using it because it's a perfectly socially distanced thing. God, it's a horrible. I'm both curious to know how it happened and also sort of don't want to know in a way. Did you see that big ice cap that's the size of London? I did, Kenneth. I saw that there was a massive, what do they call it? Calving? That's a great term. Where these giant chunks of ice drop off the ice shelves. That alone is going to raise water levels. I mean, we don't seem to be, everyone's always like, waterfront property. The last thing I would do is buy waterfront property right now, because in 10, 20, 30 years, it's going to be underwater. I mean, we're talking about like significant increases in the levels of the water. And then they start talking about these whole system where the whole system can collapse within the water, within the oceans, and then the oceans become sort of stagnant, and then that releases even more stuff and wipes us out with other wonderful, poisons of some sort or another. It's pretty creepy. Yeah, I mean, but if we go underwater, if we become an underwater civilization and the water's polluted, then that's not going to help us either. So, or move to the mountains or move to Mars. I mean, that's my concern. Is I feel like, what are we going to do? Just use up this planet, like wring it out and toss it like we do all of our waste? I mean, I'm concerned that we have not changed our approach at all as we venture forth onto other planets. And it may seem silly to say, like, should we be dropping melting chunks of metal onto planets just to get a photo of them? I'm certainly of a mind that I am fascinated by that. The exploration seems very important to me. I worry very much about settlements. I mean, if we settle out there, if we start colonizing other planets and go like, woohoo, we got a whole planet to pollute now. We got all the time in the world. And then in another, 200-300 years, we got the same problem again. So, and especially if we're fighting over chunks of it as well. I mean, we're already in a race to get, bases set up on the moon and stuff. Why? So we can start carving it up. That's Russia and China's base, and that's America's base, and where do we put the border? And like, we're doing the same thing again. Like, we learned nothing from destroying this planet, God, I sound like such a hippie, but it's, which is so funny because it's just, I feel like my position on all of this stuff has just completely flip-flopped over the last, 10, 15 years as I've got older and grayer. Yeah, Titan. Now, holding out for Tyson. Time to go hang out with Kevin Costner. Got to start training for the real Waterworld. Yeah, there you go. But do you think it's going to be Waterworld? I guess it might be. I mean, so we're all moving to higher ground. I suppose that makes sense to some extent. I hope it's more exciting than Waterworld. Or maybe less exciting. Best hope for humanity is a big chunk of ice to ride until we come across a new Earth. A gothic hippie. Is that me? I'm a gothic hippie. Come to Florida. Florida, Mary Lou. I'm not sure Florida is gonna. Is Florida not going to be Florida is going to be suffering from worse tornadoes. Is going to be suffering from heat. I mean, there's going to be all sorts. I mean, in a way where I am right now is probably pretty good. Up in Canada seems pretty safe right now because the kid doesn't want to be here. The kid wants to be in California, which is going to drop into the ocean, I'm sure, as well. So, it's, if you want to be a doomsday guy, there's plenty of things to find, It'll be Waterworld with extremely never seen before violent hurricanes the size of continents. Yeah, it's going to be great, isn't it? Jersey Dolphins, Waterworld would be great for the Wraith to cull. Yeah, good point. Read The Great Reset. What is The Great Reset, Mary Lou? I'm looking the outfit today. I'm looking the outfit. You're looking at it. You liking the outfit? Yeah, I'm sure it is. I do have a bit of a goth look, don't I? I'm modeling my my son on this. This is my son's kind of stuff. Who's giving me $5? What? Willem, thank you very much. William Arends, thank you very, very much. That is going towards the Tech Bandits coffers. And oh my God, Randy the Magician, $6.99. Thank you very much. Wow. Looking forward to teaching the bandits back in the booth. All right, you go back to the booth, Randy. Thank you very much. Randy the Magician is going to be doing some magic tricks with us on Wednesday with the kids. I want to see if they have any interest in these things. If I can get them to, I know I will. This is the beauty of Tech Bandits is worst comes to the worst. If the kids aren't interested, I will be, and then they can watch it later when their own time. Anyways, enjoy the booth. We may already be from Mars. The Mars population may have moved to Earth. I mean, they've already destroyed Mars and moved back. Or are you thinking about the panspermia idea? The idea that the planet was seeded by either on purpose or by accident by other planets or asteroids or whatever the deal is. You look like everyone keeps saying that I look like I'm going to go BMX or skateboarding. I am made of glass. I don't do any of those things. No tech bandits today, right? Andrianne, no. You know what? I'm actually talking to the digital Jesuit today. I've got a call with the Vatican. I'm going to talk to Father Robert Ballasser. I never get his last name right. But Padre. I'm going to talk to Padre about some stuff. Actually, about the StarGate urn. Actually, I was the ZPM that I want to help out with for a StarGate fan who unfortunately died of cancer, and so for their family, I'd kind of like to help out getting a some kind of a ZPM built for them to house at least a portion of his ashes, because apparently he was a big StarGate fan and was in fact on the lookout for a good ZPM before he died, and I just thought that would be kind of fun to because I know so many people in the StarGate world and so many 3D printer people and electronics folks and stuff. I just thought there might be a way I could sort of help facilitate that somehow, if not get to play myself, because I do like, I want to take on everything myself, but I know that I'm not terribly good at following up on stuff, so I want to make sure that the more people I involve, the more likelihood that it's actually gonna happen. So Padre had been working on a ZPM model himself, and so has very kindly offered to perhaps share some STL files and some of the schematics and stuff, and just see if there's a way of us maybe modifying it to work as an urn, because I just think that would be I just think as an object in a room, even if you're not a StarGate fan, they were talking about DHDs or a StarGate or something like that, and I just thought, like, for something to house an actual, some actual sort of what would you call it, ashes, I just felt like you want something that's not gonna like scream StarGate to everybody who walks in the room. Like, if his parents or his son grows up and you don't want it to look antiquated or old fashioned. The idea that these things look almost like stained glass, they look like that Jane refers to them as sort of like lit salt crystals. The idea, if you could make something of beauty that works for everybody, whether they're a StarGate fan or not. And I love the idea of there being like some LED stuff in there, so you get a little bit of light, and it just seems like the kind of project that this guy might have actually appreciated. Anyways, I mean, he's a big tech guy too. So and I was very lucky. I was able to email back and forth a couple of times before he died, but unfortunately he was just not up to an actual video chat, which I imagine would have been fun too. But anyways, like we talk about losing people like Cliff and stuff, and I just think that it's, I mean, my assumption, given my beliefs, is that I'll be dead and gone. I'm not going to care, but the people who are left behind it's always harder for the people left behind, right? So whatever you can do to make things a little easier, or maybe more pleasant, or a little bit of joy in there is probably pretty important. So anyways, there you go. And of course, to the rescue comes the digital Jesuit, Padre. So I'm going to talk to him today. I'm really looking forward to that. Also, just catching up on him too. Yeah, what did you think of Clarice last night, huh? Watch Clarice was surprised I didn't tweet anything. Well, I had a bunch of stuff going on yesterday, so it was hard to do a live tweet on that as well. Oh no, teaching is cutting into your Hewlett time. I'm so sorry, Diane. I know, Drew. Yes, we've talked about Cliff. It is very sad. What is up? That's great. The ZPM idea. You like that? Oh, good. Okay. Oh, fantastic. The Few enjoying Clarice, huh? Isn't he a pleasant soul? I've just heard I've got a couple more to do, so that's going to be fun. So before the end of the season, you're going to be seeing a little bit more of me. MTG Arena Games. Let's go, Discord. Moof. I'm on it, Moof. I'm on it. I'm really not on it, but I'll try. Maybe I could try to do that this afternoon. What do I got? At 1 o'clock, I got some stuff. And then, well, I guess 4 o'clock I've got... maybe not today. You know what? Tomorrow, though, is Dungeons & Dragons. We're doing Dungeons & Dragons with the Tech Bandits. I'm sticking to just the kids with it right now, but James Gurney, who's our dungeon master dungeon and scientist master, as well. He's going to be doing the dungeon mastering again, and he's suggested that we do one for grown-ups as well. And then we can get Gimpy God Gaming involved as well, and a couple other people, and see. We even wondered about maybe doing like a fundraiser type thing where we could like raise some money for Tech Bandits, and by I don't know, selling a couple of seats at the table type thing. I mean, it wouldn't actually be a real table, but it would be like a virtual table, and just get into Discord and chat our way through a game. So anyway, it's a thought, as always. There's lots of great ideas. It's just the time and the focus to get them done, isn't it? You're doing D&D, and I'm going to miss it. Stupid time zones, sardonic spirals. It would be 2:30 on Saturday. 2:30 Eastern Standard Time on Saturday is the plan. But if you're up before then, Tech Talk. I'm doing my Tech Talk with Auxiliary and the fabulous Barnacles, my nerd brother from another mother. And that means James will be streaming the map making. Oh, good. Yeah, probably. How about seats for Patreons? That's a good idea. The Patreon thing I feel really bad about, because it's like yet another platform that I'm trying to keep up on, and it's just, there's so much going on. I wish there was a way to consolidate it. If anyone's got any ideas for these things, I don't want to get into a situation where Tech Bandits and this stuff is only open to people who pay for it. I don't believe in that. I don't think that's right. Part of this is, for me, is kind of like an outreach thing, because I feel that the time spent on answering individual emails and letters and stuff, when they get to me, they bounce through so many different agents, and I rarely see stuff anymore until years after the fact. But anyways, my guilt at that is I feel somewhat relieved by doing this, because I feel like at least I can give back a little bit this way, if not actually writing to people in person and stuff. And then every so often something will pop up like this StarGate urn that just seemed like a really good a good thing that I felt like I could actually help with. There you go. Are you open to voiceover work for VR science learning? Yeah. Move. Yeah, I love anything that I get to learn something while I'm doing it. I love doing those documentaries on the fantasy makers and the sci-fi makers, because you're learning about writers and the era that they lived in, and their position and on religion and stuff. Any excuse to learn something is fantastic. The idea of being able to do voiceover stuff for science VR just sounds freaking amazing. That's great. Please do. That's fantastic, Move. That's great. You also get better visibility and awareness being public. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think the industry particularly cares, because this isn't really what they're interested in me for. They don't want me to be nice. They want me to be, hilariously unhappy, which I suppose I am here as well. But, it's sort of out of character for a lot of the characters that I play. But at the same time, it's great. There's so many different ways in. The idea, like these two shows, like doing Clarice and this other show that will not be named, it also offers me sort of insights into other parts of other shows, other things to get interested in, like criminology and DNA databases, and I got to look up mitochondrial DNA databases the other day, because that was something that came up maybe in one of the show. I've got to watch it, don't I? It came up in one of the shows, so it was just really. It's just a great excuse. I'm like, I don't have to feel guilty. I'm like actually doing homework. It's fantastic. Oh, speaking of homework, I did Vibe Pup, Wolf Pup, whatever he's calling himself now, suggested this video on fear. What is the worst fear? Done by Vsauce. So go check that out. Long video, like 35 minutes or something. It's like a series of them linked together, about the web of fear and the amygdala and how it responds, how your brain responds to these things. Really, really interesting. And I always love it when the bandits are teaching me stuff, which is most of the time. And Bag of Chips' dad was sending me these amazing links to like zombie wasps and disco snail parasites, and really, really cool. So yeah, huge thanks to them as well. I met Tech Bandits when I said they cause better visibility. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like, look, Yeah, I mean, I'm online talking about it. It's only going to help. And I think what's nice about these things as well is that I feel like the Burn and Learn has become sort of integrated with everything else I do. It doesn't seem like something completely removed from Tech Bandits anymore. Now it feels like it's sort of just it's a part of the Hewlett life, part of Hewlett life online. And I make no bones about the fact that I probably get much more out of this than you do, because I find it quite therapeutic. It's nice to you feel a little less isolated. You feel I feel like I feel like I get to do like a convention every single day. I just hit go live and I can have my own little mini convention, and I think it's fantastic, because I'm not going to be going to conventions in the near future. In the distant future, I don't think I'm going to go to conventions anymore. I'm not sure that I'm up for that stuff at this point. The idea of large masses of people shaking hands and breathing each other's air is just absolutely nightmares to me right now. So this is a great way to do that kind of stuff without actually having to get sick or make people sick. So we are not licensed therapists. Oh, move. That's fine. That's fine. I'll send my lawyers. Interesting channel about genetics. Oh yeah, the Thought Emporium is fantastic, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that's really, yeah, his exploration of the genetic of gene therapy for lactose intolerance was really interesting. I mean, they basically have pills that do that now, but the way he walks through they walk through that stuff. I don't know who it is. He's done things like he was creating spider web silk out of, was it milk? Was it milk he used or something? Or yeast? Maybe it was yeast. I can't remember. There's a bunch of different things he was doing in this sort of the DNA realm, and it's really very cool. There's also David Ishii as well. You should check out David Ishii. He's a dog breeder who is trying to cure genetic diseases in dogs. Like, we've just done such a horrible job genetically on these dogs to make them look like the kind of designer animals that we want over the hundreds and hundreds of years of breeding and inbreeding and all that these dogs many of them are very uncomfortable, and the ones that I believe that he'd found something for was Dalmatians. But of course, then he comes up against the sort of the Society of Dalmatians that says, well, it's not a Dalmatian if you remove that gene that makes them able to walk or their hips not hurt. I mean, I can't remember exactly what it was, but go check out David Ishii as well. He's doing some fantastic stuff. And then if you want to learn about genetics and biohacking and bioengineering and all that kind of stuff, there's some great resources out there. And if you want to actually do some stuff, go to theodin.com. It's the-odin.com. He's just, Josiah Zahner is fantastic. I mean, he's just a real character. I think he terrifies James Gurney, but just a magnificent sort of organization, not organization, a company. He's got a business. He's got a business where he will sell you bioengineering kits and stuff, but they're incredibly reasonable. It's all about getting people to do this stuff because he wants people doing biotech in the same way that we used to do, like the 150-to-1 electronics experiments. That's what he wants to do, and it's just I thoroughly, I find it absolutely fascinating. And I've there's a couple of the kits that I've already got, including Biotech 101 and this mycelium culture kit as well, which is really, it's just, when I say kit, it's a series of videos from people who are doing this stuff, which is just great. It's very low key. It's very much like this. It's just like, okay, so I got this and I do this and that's how it works. And oh, what about this? And just really very sort of YouTube-like in its approach. And it's just, but great information. And then the kits will come with the stuff you need to do what these people are doing on the YouTube videos. So they've got things like grains to inoculate for the mycelium, or wood shavings that have been sterilized for that, Petri dishes, needles. In the case of the biotech stuff, you've got little, you've got things for, it's a bunch of different stuff. You've got cultures to use, you've got agar, you've got everything you would basically need to create your own little biotech kit. And I want the kids to be doing it in the same way that the kids would do electronics experiments, because it's, it's another technology. I sort of ignored biology because I figured that was Beckett's problem. But since StarGate specifically, I've really started diving into it. And and just I have a great sort of hope for what this stuff can do for us. I mean, without these technologies, without people making these kind of experiments, we wouldn't have the vaccines we have now. Well, we don't have them in Toronto right now because the government is. That's something else that needs to really be changed, is the way the government works, because we're still signing 80-year-olds up for the virus, for the vaccinations, but they haven't got the vaccinations yet. So, is this complete early thaw in our part of Canada a sign of an overheated world? Yeah, maybe, William. But I find there's usually like a really nice, beautiful spring that is suddenly punctuated by a massive snowstorm of some sort, usually somewhere just before my birthday in April. So that's basically it. Matthias, love me in StarGate. Very good taste then. Hoping for another movie or series. Yeah, me too. I'd love that. Hopeful for May 1st. Oh, good luck, Sean. Good luck. I hope that happens. Dark Sprocket says, for the McKay character, did they hire you because you had that character naturally and let you run with it, or they helped develop that character? I mean, Dark Sprocket, they wrote McKay. I mean, McKay was written. I just said the words. I think there were cadences and perhaps sort of physical tics and things that I had, or personality things that I had, that they may have incorporated as they went along, perhaps, possibly. I mean, we all have a little McKay in us, don't we? So, I think it was probably a big part of it. Whose birthday? May 1st is your birthday. Oh, good. Well, happy birthday for May the 1st, Walter. Seems like you're planning a little far ahead there. I did a Hathor hosts way back, Christopher. Go check the archives. I did one with the lovely Hathor way back when. I think you'd be good at a pub quiz or making up questions. I imagine it could be fun. I suck at those things. I'm always the slowest on those things, so I second guess myself. The clicky figure thing for sure, yes, absolutely. Claire Ann, absolutely. The clicky figure thing is definitely a Hewlettism. Circuit bending is a fun experiment. I don't even know what that is. I haven't met you yet. How would I meet you if you don't pop up for a con? I know, but is anyone really up for a convention right now? Like, does anyone feel up to that? Like, I feel like I get nervous on set, and that's only, 100 or so people now. I mean, what is that? What day is your April birthday? I'm the 18th, actually. Yeah. You brought more warmth and heart to McKay instead of just an annoying AH. He became a lovable AH. Thank you, Sardonic Spirals. Yeah, I mean, it was a weird line to walk, right? Because he came in as a guest star who was there to cause trouble. He was there to be a roadblock for Amanda, basically, for Sam Carter. And how do you then sort of backtrack on that and become a regular in a series? I think the fear that I had going into that was that he was going to lose too much of that sort of unlikableness. But if you can make the unlikable likable, I think that's a fantastic sort of line to walk with this. Playing unlikable characters is actually difficult, because people generally deep down kind of want to be liked. So playing truly horrible characters can be kind of an interesting challenge. And I think the writers did a great job of walking that line and letting me sort of I was offensive, but I was, but it was countered at times. And I think it's McKay, what I like about McKay is he's kind of real in a way. I mean, he reminded me of all the nerds that I ever worked with when I was in IT or as a kid, or even some of the people who worked on films and a lot of the VFX guys and stuff. Like I am drawn to those type of people because I think deep down I know in a way that I'm one of them without the skills, basically, but I have the interest. And so I think, and they're not always pleasant people, right? I mean, a lot of them are not good socially, and I think McKay definitely struggled from that. He struggled from both insecurities and an overinflated sense of self, but he was also brilliant. So what do you do with that? If people are truly, truly brilliant, it's very, very difficult sometimes for them to see other people's perspectives on things, or to see an emotional angle on something, or to see to see something that's not necessarily cut and dry. There's a tendency with us nerds to say, like, this is right, that is wrong. And unfortunately, the world sort of fluctuates between the two, and also there's many gray areas in between. I mean, I say this over and over again, but I think it's important that good people do bad things and bad people do good things, and I think that's very, very frustrating for people who struggle to clearly delineate the two, if that makes sense. A vulnerable nerd. That's why he's awesome. Gorilla Danish. We're just vulnerable nerds. All right, weekend? Yeah, indeed. And on that battle cry, I shall move on because I have got things to do, my friends. I've got a 1 o'clock, and I don't think, well, I mean, I could probably get away looking at like a skater, but I'm a bit sweaty. So I think that maybe my wife might appreciate if I actually go and have a shower and things. So I should also bring the coffee that I promised her about an hour ago. So how long have I been doing this? Yeah, almost an hour. Holy cow. Wow, it's like 120 people out there. Fantastic. All right. I will say, yes, again, just to sum up on the Cliff Simon stuff, Lorraine, I am very, very sorry to hear about Cliff. Cliff and I only knew each other in a convention setting. So I feel like I probably feel his loss the way you do, in that I'm just a fan of his work, and having met him a number of times at conventions, was always rather impressed with him as an actor. Thank you very much, Chaonic. That's very nice of you. Very, very nice of you. I don't know what that is, the CZKs, but thank you very, very much. That will go towards Tech Bandits. But yeah, so I feel like I'm kind of with you all on the Cliff Simon stuff. I'm sad, but don't have any claim to a particular friendship other than just our sort of rather fun and amusing back and forths at conventions. And I'm very, very sad. I was very, very surprised to hear that I mean, of course, it's a shock, these things. So, all right. I will say, what was that? Holy moly. Magic Man. I know, I got to stop saying magician, don't I? Magic Man. Thank you, Randy. Thank you very, very much. You don't have to pay me to correct my stuff. But thank you. Jim the Evo is going to see you tomorrow. Indeed. Definitely. Dungeon and Science Master, Jim the Evo, or James R. Gurney, if you want to follow him on Twitter. Lighthearted, trying to kill children's D&D characters. Fantastic. Well, don't take it easy on them. Take it easy on me. See you, everyone. Until we geek again, I will say be safe, be kind, be brilliant, and cheerio. And finally, huzzah!